Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest impacting our community in a positive way. Today, I welcome KCOMM founder and CEO Sinan Kanatsiz. His company is the Public Relations and Marketing Agency for the not-for-profit CEO Leadership Alliance Orange County. The organization's mission is to collaborate to cultivate Orange County into a premier, inclusive innovation talent hub. Sinan is also the founder and chairman of the Internet Marketing Association and the founder of the International Executive Council. Thank you, Sinan, for being on Impact OC.
Awesome, Don. Thank you for having me. So great to be back. I love your studio. It looks exactly the same, except it moved from South Coast Plaza over to Research Park at UCI. And this is a fantastic venue. So great work to you guys.
Well, Sinan, how is Orange County's innovation hub growing through firms and projects such as Endural, I Trust Capital, and OC Vibe?
Great. So being born and raised in Orange County, I've really seen the landscape shift and change in so many different ways. You mentioned three completely different organizations. So Endural, Palmer Luckey, great friend of mine, he's built an incredible business, which is not just a company, it's really an industry. And what they're doing with machine learning and AI for military and defense applications is not only amazing for Orange County, but it's amazing for defense for the United States of America and our allies. And the work that's being done at their new facility, which is world-class. I can't wait till you see it. It's the old LA Times building in Costa Mesa, and they've built just an absolute breathtaking office space that's attracted some great new talent for their hiring, as well as some of the R&D and engineering that they're doing for the bases that they're defending, as well as their lattice system and other technology that they're creating there. So that's one great example of innovation hub of Orange County is Endural. But again, because they are such a big company, I mean, they're already valued in the billions of dollars. I just read they're raising another $500 million. So this is going to be one of the greatest unicorns of Orange County's history. The company's so big that they're technically an industry, right? Because their only competitors are really like Raytheon, a little bit of Boeing on the defense side, Northrop Grumman. So they're actually building a whole base here in Orange County of companies. So there's going to be component manufacturers, suppliers that are all going to come here and start their businesses, and there are already so many of those that are here. So I'm very proud of what Palmer and his leadership are doing for the county. The second one you bring up is I Trust Capital, a complete tangent, right? Like here's defense over here and here's cryptocurrency, right? So I Trust Capital, which was founded by a couple brilliant guys, Blake and Todd, they started in LA County and they created America's largest tax benefiting retirement, like an IRA, in the crypto world, right? So there's various tokens that you can use through this platform, and it is astounding the billions of dollars that they're sending through their platform. And you see that company moving from LA and then moving to their headquarters here in Irvine. They've occupied over 20,000 square feet of space. Kevin Maloney, a good friend of mine, and Trevor Gregory are leading up the marketing and the investment arm of that company. They brought in over $100 million from Left Lane Capital out of New York. And this company is a rocket ship. If you look at digital economy and digital commerce, and you look at all these crypto companies, I Trust Capital is a flagship when it comes to anything retirement, IRA, crypto. And it's right here in Orange County. So that's really leading innovation when it comes to this whole new digital economy and this new digital world. And then you talk about OC Vibe. So OC Vibe, again, completely different than Endural, completely different than I Trust Capital. This right here is an incredible mixed-use property under the vision of Henry Samueli, obviously Broadcom founder, philanthropist, one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation, a mentor of mine too when I was at Chapman. And what Henry's done, around the pond, and obviously he owns the ducks. He's built this master plan, commercial, office, residential, hospitality all in one. I mean, you can live there, you can work there, you could dine there, you can go to sporting events, you can go out on dates. You got everything under one roof. So you don't need a car, technically. You could just roll around I'll throw in a plug for Don DiCostanzo, Pedigo Electric Bikes, a familiar name here. All you need is your Pedigo electric bike, and take your bike around, and you don't ever have to leave that campus. It is that large. So those are the types of things and the types of amenities that next generation's looking for. Orange County is a big place. I mean, there's over 3 million people here. And for that next generation that's growing up, they're not necessarily looking for a big house on the beach. They're looking for something they can afford that has a lot of amenities built around them, because Orange County is known for lifestyle. And when you have innovation, entrepreneurship, and something like OC Vibe, it really caters. So kind of a long-winded answer, but I wanted to make sure you understood Anduril, I Trust, OC Vibe, completely different, but the three activating together are really good news for our region.
And they're all part of the CEO Leadership Alliance Orange County. Explain that organization.
Right. So Doug Wilson and Mark Percy, two great guys, that built this nonprofit several years ago. And Doug, being an angel investor, really knows the VC community well and knew what was missing in Orange County. And it was really uniting all of our leaders in an inclusive, open source sort of way. And there are so many leadership groups in Orange County that really kind of, this is my turf. But the vision of CLA was to really create this open-ended leadership group, which was fascinating. And having done my master's in organizational leadership at Chapman, they followed the rule book of Mark Meyer, which is really to kind of create that inclusive organization that really builds the best ideas and to be able to implement that, not just for our generation, but for the next generation. So they've amassed a group of over 100 CEOs, and that varies from CEO of a billion-dollar company like Michael Musalem of Edward Life Sciences to Sue Parks, who's the CEO of Orange County United Way. So it's not just a position of economic leadership, but it really is the leaders of Orange County coming together, talking about where are the problems, where are the opportunities, and some of the programming that they've come out with is powerful stuff. And you might think, oh, CLA is their own thing, but they're not. They're in partnership with Orange County Business Council. They're in partnership with Octane, with my group, IEC. They're really open. And that sort of thinking is what's going to help our region. Instead of just keeping it into their own little universe of projects, they're really looking at the projects for tomorrow's Orange County.
So how do they view Orange County in terms of the world?
Well, Orange County, in the eyes of CLA, is a constant definition, and they've done a really good job building the flywheel of what Orange County's needs are and differentials. And they've really looked at human resources as one. They've looked at brand. What's the Orange County brand mean around the world? They've defined and unpacked these things in a way that's not just quantitative but qualitative. So not just forming relationships with some of the greatest businesses in Orange County, but also with universities. So UCI, Cal State Fullerton, Chapman, they're all in partnership with the CLA. And they've been able to do the right type of research to understand what makes us different as a region, not just in the country, but in the world. There's a lot of similarities that Orange County has with regions in the UAE. There are similarities that Orange County has with the East Coast. And we're able to find the things that are complementary as well as things that differentiate us. And then we use that as a way to market to companies that want to move their workforce here, or people that are looking for something new. And CLA launched an amazing project called Envision OC. They come up with an interactive map, and on that map you can pick from any of the 32 cities in Orange County and say, I want to see what Santa Ana is all about. And it gives you all the census data, but it also gives it from the user's perspective. There's videos of people that live in those cities and say, why is my city, I live in San Clemente. I did a video. I said, this is why San Clemente is so amazing. And that video is right there on that interactive map. So employers as well as employees that want to make a move can say, okay, this is what makes Orange County different, but here's a city in Orange County that aligns with me and my family's values and our cultural heritage, and it makes us want to live there even more before they even move here. So that's something that I've never seen anywhere across the country, but Envision OC is kind of like the hook that they throw out to the ocean to get those employers and those employees to move here.
But what are some of the differences between Orange County and the other areas?
Well, I mean, there's just some that are very obvious, right? Like our beaches and all the different hospitality venues. We got Disneyland, we've got the mountains, we have some of the greatest academia in the world, right? You look at some of our universities and our higher education programs. You also have real diversity here. You go through Santa Ana, you go through Costa Mesa, you go through San Clemente, and you see culture. There's real things happening here that really make us a little bit like LA when you look at the depths of our culture. So really unpacking some of those different cultural attributes as well as our diversity. You see representatives of every demographic in Orange County. And those are the things that really cater to the next generation. And I think we all know all the beauty that Orange County has with it. You know, our neighbor of Los Angeles County, they're going through their struggles with homelessness and crime. You see what's happening in Orange County? Our homelessness went down 20% this year, 20%. And you would think, gosh, with everything going on in the world, homelessness is on the rise. It is in San Diego and in LA. But in Orange County, it's gone down. It's thanks to good leaders like Larry Armstrong, who's the chairman of Where Malcolm and the chairman of United 10 Homelessness, and Sue Parks, who's leading up the United 10 Homelessness Initiative here in Orange County, and all the CEOs and nonprofits underneath their umbrella to attack this issue. They did a point-in-time count. Every single city. We went out there on the streets and we partnered with law enforcement to count how many homeless people there are. And we're providing them housing. We're one of the only regions in the entire country that does this, where we actually identify landlords that are giving us apartments to house the homeless. And then we provide wraparound services. The county has amazing services, and the county's paying for those homeless people and families to stay in those apartments. And so the landlords win. The homeless win. The county wins. And for us, it's even further. There are some that are chronic homeless. There are those that are addicted to drugs and just want to live on the streets. And we're really helping even down to the challenges that they're having, the mental challenges, and studying ways that we can continue to provide them in an empathetic way. And you see what's happening in LA. It's the complete opposite. And it's leaders like Todd Spitzer, our district attorney, Sheriff Don Barnes. Our law enforcement is one of the best in the world, not just the country, but the entire world. You look at our law enforcement, what they do with technology, with genome technology, with the use of all the different resources that they have and the logic that they use, it's really profound. So those are the variables that I think as a father of two, protecting my family. I want to make sure my wife and children are safe. That's the first and foremost and only priority that I have. Then it's everything else. And you can't get that in other places in California, but you got that here in OC.
Well, with the companies, is there a requirement to be a member of the organization? Yeah.
So the organization itself is, the members themselves, they come through a sequence of events and interviews. And based on the size and shape of the organization, there will be contributions, monetary contributions, given that it's a 501c, it's a non-profit. Those dollars go toward hosting events, research, marketing, and those sort of attributes. And there's been a lot of foundations and other organizations that have supported CLA over the years, and they're just getting started. And it came in at the perfect time.
But you also have programs for students.
Yeah. And I think, that sort of partnership, and if you look at what AWS and the partnership between Amazon's AWS unit and CLA, it's powerful because it's providing certification, it's providing training, it's providing real job opportunities, and those are the sort of things that we need. There's an apprentice program that is provided by CLA and its member companies. I mean, you look at some of these giant enterprises that are part, but also some of the greatest startups in Orange County. Loco, which is Joseph Zaki's company. They go into camera technology and they can detect any lost work incidents. Kona AI, they deal with fraud prevention, and that's all done through AI. Those are two startups that are both in Irvine, multi-million-dollar companies, and they're providing internships through the pathways of CLA into the universities and high schools throughout the Orange County Department of Education and the hundreds of public and private schools that are throughout our county.
So do you see other businesses moving to Orange County just to be a member of the Alliance?
I don't think a business is going to just wake up one day saying, I want to be part of CLA, and that's why I'm moving to Orange County. The reality is we're a byproduct of this incredible region. We're an amenity to those businesses. And a lot of times, and Jeff Volpe, the head of ViewSonic Corporation in Brea, he came up with a great thought. A few years ago, Doug Wilson and Mark Percy hosted all the leaders at the Fashion Island Hotel, which is now becoming Pendry. Don Bren was actually at that breakfast, I'll never forget. And Jeff Volpe stood up and he said, you know what, I want to see Orange County companies working with Orange County companies. And that's a great example of a company that's been in Orange County for decades, and its leader came up with this great idea. Okay, well, hey, Angel Stadium or the Ducks, they're going to put in all these monitors and all these suites. Why not work with ViewSonic, right? So it's Orange County companies working with Orange County companies. And CLA is there as a facilitator of, hey, that's a brilliant idea. Let's make that happen now. So again, company moves from Texas or Indianapolis or wherever it is to Orange County, they're going to discover, hey, CLA is here as an amenity to you, as someone to help you navigate through municipalities, regulation, certification, employee hiring, talent acquisition, marketing, branding. We have a network. So you don't get that a lot. You move into a region, a lot of times you're just met with an iron curtain and you don't know how to get above it or open it. We're that organization that really gives you the pathways to whatever you need.
So how does the organization operate? Do you have meetings on a regular basis? Do you have newsletters to keep everybody informed as to what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it has its cadence of marketing, so social media. It has executive committee meetings. It has different committees itself that meet. They have all hands meetings that are done virtually. And all through the pandemic, I got to really credit the leadership of this group. I mean, they doubled down. Instead of saying, hey, we got to take some time off, we can't do physical events, they doubled down on Zoom and they brought us together, and they were so effective with breaking us into smaller clusters. So I'm strong on marketing and brand, and she's strong on hiring, talent acquisition. And we would go into these smaller groups on Zoom and actually brainstorm, and there would be a note taker in each one of those. And then we would present those ideas to the general group, and then that would go into an implementation cadence that CLA had, and they just push through. And the modern CLA of 2022, which we just hosted our all-member meeting at Michael Masalam's Edward Life Sciences, and it was just incredible. Like the energy, the creativity, the thought, how much the organization has grown as far as the population of member, the quality of member, it was outstanding. So that's the quantity of meetings that they do, and some of them are social, most of them are business related, and there's always initiatives like the AI Center for Excellence. You know, one of the core differentiators that we found is our AI expertise from companies like Anduril and Loco, and using those sort of attributes. I mean, Veritone's headquartered here in Orange County. These are companies that are so strong in the AI development that we're kind of realizing that, hey, we're a hub for AI. We're not just biomedical and these other industries that people know Orange County for, but there's this new thing. So Jasmine, who's a great leader in AI at CLA, she leads that whole initiative, and she has her own meetings and her own organization within the organization. So those are the things that I've seen as a member and handling their public relations.
What are some of the committees?
Yeah, I mean, back to hiring, talent acquisition, marketing and brand, AI Center for Excellence, the apprentice, you know, working with high school students and getting them jobs in organizations, you know, that support Orange County and are members of CLA. So those are the types of committees that exist.
You're involved with so many organizations. How do you fit it in your life?
I have a wonderful, loving, and forgiving wife. She has always given me perspective on the types of leadership that I do in the county, and I really credit my alma mater as well. Chapman University was a true testing ground of how to deal with multiple things at one time. When I was a junior at Chapman, I was running for Student Senate, head of the Public Relations Student Society of America. I was in the House of Representatives, so you could actually serve the House and the Senate at the same time. That was kind of fun. Running for president, student body president. I was in the ski club. I was in the communications club. I was in so many clubs. Like, I never had a minute to myself. But that was practice ground, because the real world, there's similarities, you know, with all the nonprofits and for-profits and boards that I now serve on. Time management is a big part of what I do. Work delegation is also very important. So really understanding when there's only so much you can personally handle and do. There's a lot of that, a lot of prayer and time to myself. I love to swim. So being underwater is like meditation. Another thing that Don DiCostanzo of Pedagogue does, I bet you not a lot of people know, he loves to swim. He told me there's actually underwater headphones that he told me about, which I got to try because I'd love to listen to music. But that's how I'm able to do it all. You know, I own a PR firm. I own the Internet Marketing Association as well as this executive network called the IEC, and it's just time management.
What do you see as the future for this organization?
Well, for CLA, it's continuing to do what they're great at, and they are in implementation mode right now. So a lot of the flywheel and a lot of the abstract vision of several years ago when the organization was early formed is now being implemented. They're doing an excellent job with getting people to economically support them and to continue to harvest this Center for Innovation and to validate it. It's not just to say, oh, hey, we're the Center of Innovation, we're Orange County. It's to really back it up by saying, hey, check out what Anduril's doing. Hey, check out what iTrust is doing. Hey, check out what Loco's doing. These are real world examples of the future of the world happening in Orange County. And that's a validation point of the vision of this organization.
And is this organization's brand connected to all the different businesses so that when they are out promoting their businesses, they definitely put the organization's name on it?
Yes, and that's the beauty of CLA. They don't say no. They really open their doors to everybody. And the vision of the organization is to touch everyone. It's not to bifurcate certain groups. It's to really include everybody. And I've seen it over and over again. The diversity and that sort of vision is something I can get behind, and that's why I took on this project. It's something that I feel can be a great model for other regions. You know, Austin, Texas, New York, Miami, all these different regions should learn from what CLA is doing for their own little world.
Well, how should Orange Countyans feel about this organization?
Well, I mean, everyone has their own opinion, but it's hard to not love what they're doing, you know, and I personally objectively look at everything that I get involved in, and, you know, Orange Countyans should feel the same way I feel. I'm a San Clementian, right? We're like aliens out there in San Clemente, and, you know, whether in San Clemente, Huntington Beach, Santa Ana, everyone feels the love that CLA provides, and, you know, it's about having that diversity. If we were just a group in Newport Beach, I can understand if there was a connotation built around us, or if we were just a group in Brea. Oh, that's a Brea group, you know? No, we're really Orange County for the world, and it's really tough to not love this.
Now, when it comes to students, how young of students get involved with this?
Yeah, I mean, high school is really the trigger point. I mean, to me, that's where you're finding those that are curious about work. Usually it's coming from the parents or a sibling that's in a career, and they're fascinated by it. I mean, when I bring Palmer to speak, wherever we speak, I just look at how people light up. Young people especially just love his energy and his innovation and his thinking. We have some of the greatest gaming companies here and some of the greatest labs that are developing some of the greatest research. So these minds, I find, are getting younger and younger as to making that career transition. So high school is usually where it starts with the apprentice program for CLA, but you know, through college and then through higher education, community college, we're here accepting those connection pathways. One of the biggest challenges, as you can imagine, in, you know, sitting here in June 2022, is hiring. Labor is tough to find, whether it's building a home or taking a research job at UCI. It's really tough to find these talented people. And we're finding more and more people are moving down to Orange County from Silicon Valley, from the East Coast. They're looking at this as a destination. And because of that, we are sort of the filtering point of talent. We're finding people that we think can match a great position at Allergan or whatever company it may be. And it's not just the executive jobs, it's the retail jobs. There's labor deficiencies across the network, and CLA is really helping as a catalyst.
What are the great traits of a CEO?
You know, I'm a CEO, and what I would aspire to be a great leader is by listening, by providing empathy. So someone's trying to communicate with me something and really understanding and absorbing what their message is and relating to that. So having the listening skills, the teamwork, servant leadership's a big thing. It goes back to Mark Meyer again at Chapman University, you know, to really understand and kind of the inverted pyramid, right? Because you see the hierarchical, you know, sort of top of the pyramid down, right? The traditional CEO. But I really believe an effective CEO is at the bottom of their organization, holding them up, supporting their subordinates and their workforce, making sure that they're provided the right support so they could be the best leader themselves, because they're typically interfacing with the customer. And you want that relationship and that experience to be an empowering one, a positive one. And I think that's what makes a really good CEO.
Now, were you a great student from grammar school all the way through high school?
You know, my parents, they migrated here from Turkey. They had my sister and I here in America. And my father was a school teacher, and he always told me C's are better. He never said get an A. He never said, hey, I want to see you on the honor roll. He said C's are better. So he set the expectation at average. And you know what that did for me was it kind of did this like counter punch. So I strove for the A because he wasn't demanding me to get A's. And I would say that that was one of the greatest pieces of advice that he ever gave me, because it made me want to get the A's. And you know, I wasn't a 4.0 GPA, but I was in the high threes. I got accepted to Chapman. And, you know, that sort of thinking is something that I think is also important, because we are in such a competitive landscape in this world that sometimes achieving and exceeding perfection is not necessarily the most important thing, but quality is. And so, you know, my GPA was strong. There were definitely some subjects that I was stronger in than others, but it was that balance that got me through higher education, ultimately my master's, and then to start my businesses. It's because I never really strove for that A+. But hopefully that answers your question.
How can people get involved with the organization?
Yeah, claoc.org, the website, and just, you know, we're here 24/7. Go online, just fill out the form, and if you haven't heard from us, we'd love to hear from you, and then get you into the ecosystem.
Well, thank you, KCOMM founder and CEO Sinan Kanatsiz, for being on Impact OC, and I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.